In this video, I'm going to go over 5 bad habits every beginner player should give up. Let's start with number 1, not focusing enough on rhythm. Rhythm is, of course, the timing of what you play. Now, let me make this very clear to you. Rhythm is everything. You can play the right notes at the wrong times, and your music will sound bad almost always. On the flip side, if you play the wrong notes with a good rhythm, it's going to sound intentional. Now, it might sound bad, but you're much more likely to make any bad note choices work when you play them with good timing. That means when you're starting, you really need to ignore the temptation to overfocus on notes, bends, and techniques if your rhythm is lacking. There's a whole bunch of ways to improve your rhythm, and one that I like to promote is by playing your scales with a metronome or a click track in the background at faster and faster speeds. If you want to learn how to do this, then you can find a full note chart and video demonstration in my scale cheat sheet download. It's free and in the description. But that's not the only way. You can take a familiar song and just keep playing it until your rhythm is extremely tight. So just anything that you've learned, just play it and raise your standards. Try to tighten it up. You could also improvise and come up with a simple repeating hook, a very basic phrase, and then just play it over and over, digging into the correct rhythm and getting your timing to be nice and on time, right matching up with the grid. The key here is holding yourself to a high standard. You don't want to be a perfectionist in a lot of things in life, but your rhythm is one that you should really force yourself to get better at. If you want to improve your rhythm, you can't accept poorly timed notes. If you really can't get your notes in time, take the harmonica out of your mouth and start clapping. Can you clap in time? Because if you can, at least you're getting close to improving your rhythm. Just don't ignore rhythm. It will make or break your playing, both as a beginner or as an advanced player. It's so important. The next bad habit that you want to fix is bending with your throat or your jaw instead of your tongue. When we bend, we are expanding the resonance chamber inside of our mouth. And the best way to do this is with your tongue, because your tongue is very flexible. It will snap to very weird positions very quickly, and we know this because we're talking all the time, and isn't that what our tongue is doing while we talk? However, many players default to bending with the first thing that actually gets them the right note, which is usually by constricting their throat or dropping their jaw. Now, if you do this, you will probably be able to get a bend, and you probably will be able to get all of the bends that you're trying to get. So you might be wondering, why is this an issue? Well, the answer is speed and tension and or pain. So when you bend with your throat or your jaw, you are likely taking longer to go right to the target bend. You may even find yourself changing your head position, like slightly tilting your head down, like that when you bend. Now, this is all things that are going to just delay you from getting to the right note at the right time. When you bend with your throat, it's especially bad because you may also experience tension or pain in your throat as well. And I've worked with a lot of players where this was the case. They'd be like, well, I can play, but I can't go a deeper bend because my throat hurts. Your throat shouldn't be hurting. You need to get this. When playing any instrument, pain is a sign that you're doing it wrong. So if you think that you're bending with your throat and not your tongue, which is probably obvious because if you feel tension or pain in your throat, you're bending with your throat, you need to start bending with your tongue. Now, bending with your tongue can be done in any embouchure. It's not just tongue blocking, and you really owe it to yourself to fix this technique. It's going to help you initiate bends faster and reduce or eliminate any pain that you may be feeling. But you need to be aware, the longer that you wait to fix this, the harder it is going to be to change. Bad habits are so hard to get rid of once they are really ingrained, especially for years on end. If you want to learn how to fix this and start bending with your tongue, I'll link a video at the end of this one that will go over a bending exercise that will do the trick. The next bad habit is panicking when you make a mistake. As a musician, you have to develop a certain level of resiliency to errors. You are going to make mistakes. There is no completely perfect player out there. You may watch videos of people that sound amazing, but just know that they probably rehearsed the thing that you watched on that video 100 times before you saw it. And with enough repetitions, you can make mistakes Highly unlikely to happen, but they do still happen, especially when you're improvising, because when you're improvising, you're trying new things, and sometimes you're going to play a note that you don't like. You have to train yourself in this situation to not react. Don't make a face. Don't be like, ugh. Like you don't want to do that, right? You need to train yourself to let the music just continue. You can even, in the long run, learn strategies to make mistakes sound intentional, like quickly moving to harmonizing notes or repeating errors that you make to normalize them. Just whatever you do, don't make a face and stop playing. It's a dead giveaway that you don't know what you're doing. The next bad habit is avoiding your weaknesses. We all have different weaknesses, and I don't know what yours are. However, the only way to get better as a player is to look at your weaknesses head on and address them. The more problems you solve, the better you're going to get. Now, in a piece of music, this could mean spending extra time on a section or a transition between sections that you're having difficulty with. You don't want to just stick with the parts that you're comfortable with. If you want to get good, you need to address the things that you're bad at as well, even more than the stuff that you're good at. The best way to find out what you're bad at is to simply record yourself. Watch it back and you're going to know what you need to work on. Is it uncomfortable? Yes, but it's really good for you. The final bad habit you should avoid is ending your song or jam in a rush. It projects a lack of confidence, and it's not what you want your audience to leave with. It doesn't matter if you're playing in front of anyone or not. If you're playing by yourself, you still have to develop the habit of not ending in a rush if you want to do that naturally when you're playing in front of other people. So as an example, let's say I'm playing a song and I play the last few notes, and if you're doing this wrong, what you're going to do is you may immediately stop and move on to the next song. You might, if there's other people, ask them, like, how did I do, right? So like, how did I do? What do you think? Or like, all right, here's the next one. Or worst case, okay, my next harmonica, I put it, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to end things in a rush. Instead, what you want to do is you want to end on some nice, strong notes and just take a second to let it all sink in. And this is important because people remember more than the stuff in the middle, the beginning and the ending of a song. So if your ending is very scattered and uncomfortable, then that's the feeling that people are going to be left with. So when you end, you want to end like this. And just stop. Let it sink in. This is actually where the magic is at, and you don't want to skip this. It feels good to end your songs in this way, and you will seem like a much more confident and capable musician when you act like you know what you're doing and you believe that your playing is good. And when you end in a way that projects confidence by like, you're giving off the feeling, yep, that's what I did. Take it in, and now it's time for my next thing. So just keep this in mind. You really want to end in a nice way, and the easiest way to do it is to just take a second after you're done playing. Remember what I said earlier about bending with your throat instead of your tongue? If you want to fix that problem, watch this video right up here and you will learn how to do that. I'll teach you a really cool exercise that will teach you how to bend with your tongue. Practice that a little bit and you'll be able to fix this right up. I'll see you again next week. Peace.